Welcome back to episode 9 of my Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup playthrough as a Demon Spawn Enchanter of Rue. When we left off, I was trying to decide where to go next. The stairs down to Lair 8 are sort of problematic. They're crowded with hydras, basically, which I don't have a way to deal with. But I do want to get down into here and loot this end vault. So what I've decided to do is try to lure both of the hydras to one staircase by making some noise. And I think they might already both be, in fact, at this staircase. Yeah, okay, so that hurts. It's not good at all. So it turns out I didn't have to do this at all. Shoot. I'm already messing it up a bit, but it's fine. I can just dance around these mushrooms or fungus, I guess. Back to this staircase. It's an escape hatch, really. And that's where the hydras are going to be waiting for me now. Oh my god, I didn't mean there were going to be any upstairs. I meant the hydras downstairs would be waiting at that staircase for me. But that's okay, this guy's not in melee range, so I think it's fine. And I think this staircase is mostly clear now. So if I can get up here and take that staircase, I can sort of lose this hydra that way. And then I'll come out downstairs where there aren't any hydras to be worried about. I kind of want to make a power leap now, so I can get far enough away that he can't follow me downstairs. And I don't want to make a ton of noise near anything scary, so I did it as soon as possible. Plus I can recover my exhaustion sooner if I'm running away while I'm exhausted, I guess. Alright, so we got downstairs and there aren't any hydras who know where we are. There's a death yak, which is also a problem. But I'm just going to go invisible here and carve him up, I hope. Now the hydras probably heard him bellow, so now that he's dead, we're going to get out of here. Yeah, there they are. They can't see invisible either. So we just have to... They went to the source of the sound, but they don't know where I am. So I just had to get out of line of sight before I became visible. And we sort of have delayed the hydra issue. There's still going to be a recurrent problem. But we can continue to advance. Is there anything in here? This is a kind of weird look corner thing, but I guess not. It's ordinary rock. Okay. So let's get back into that vault I wanted to get to, or you know, run away from hydras some more, I guess. Ugh. It's just running away from hydras is a good way to stay alive, but it's making it hard for me to progress that much. And I don't really have a good way to kill him. I could probably empty a Wand of Draining into him, like that might do it. But it might not. My evocation skill actually is getting up there. I think with 5 I'm probably okay to drain a hydra. But again, I'm not sure that I really need to. You know, it's a risk and it uses up resources, whereas just like jumping to the stairs and leaving again is mostly free. Aside from this hydra that I left behind, who I can jump away from also. You know, that's sort of Rue's answer to everything, is just jump. Or Apocalypse is even better. So I think actually I'm going to just put Lair on hold and go to Orc 4. We've gotten a fair bit more powerful from killing all the monsters we have in Lair, and stuff in Orc is less threatening than it was last time we were there, hopefully. In particular, we might run into some Orc warlords. They're like very tough orcs. We almost certainly will run into some sorcerers and high priests who are difficult for sure, but not as bad as a warlord typically. So there's Gastronach. I don't like that very much. He can. He's, as I mentioned before, he's an elephant slug, who's a wizard. Gained his power by eating a powerful wizard, I guess, is the lore. Let's look at that lore actually while I'm chatting. And so he has several spells that are. He's extremely slow. You can just generally run away from him. Even if he slows you down, you're still faster than he is, I think. But his spells, notably Airstrike, does a lot of damage to anything he can see. It's kind of like Orc Priest smiting. And he can confuse you, no, slow you, I guess. And he also bites pretty hard in melee. So I just I don't want to fight him. I guess I'm just going to go find Orc, like I said I was going to. What am I training anyway? Fighting, dodging, evocations, hexes? Sounds good. And there's this stupid ghost. And notice he's now marked yellow. He's a yellow level threat and not a red level threat, which means we've gotten a bit more powerful. The game thinks it's a little bit more reasonable for us to fight him if we want. But I don't. So we're going to try out Orc 4, which, as I mentioned, it's the last branch, or last floor, rather, of Orc. And so, as such, it's harder than the earlier floors. I mean, every dungeon gets harder a little bit as you go down, but the last branch, the last floor of a particular branch is usually a substantial difficulty jump, which is why I left Orc 4 for later, and when I tried to do Layer 8, I decided not to. It was just, there was too much crap there to deal with. So far, Orc is no challenge, but we haven't seen anything hard yet. There definitely is going to be stuff here that's harder than just Orcs and Ogres. So this looks like a big something, right? I wonder if this is it looks kind of like the Pandemonium ending, maybe? I should not have charged in here. See, I got complacent talking about how easy the orcs we were seeing were, which was, true, but there are lots of more difficult orcs to see, and all you have to do is brag about how easy they are, and you run into the hard ones, like magic. And orc warriors also are not too bad. We've killed a lot of them over the course of the game. Priests, none of this is too bad, but there's a lot of it. And there are going to be some higher tier orcs in here as well. And if I'm right, probably some demons. The orcs have opened a portal to Pandemonium. Yeah, that's what this is. So we're going to be seeing some mid-level demons, not the really nasty stuff. So the demons in this game are, let's just don't go in there, are, in console, they have their numbers rather than letters. And there are several tiers of demons, and 5s are the really weakest demons. We've seen Crimson Imps and so on. And those are imps are 5s. They're very weak demons. And there's 2s and 3s. Well, 4s are a little bit stronger than 5s. 3s are a little stronger than that. Okay. What's going on? There's an orc warrior with a glaive. That's what's hitting me. It's hurting a lot. So I'm being too careless here trying to describe demons, really. Yeah, sure. So here we'll probably see some 3s and 4s. I don't expect to see any 2s, let alone 1s in the Orc Pandemonium ending. But 3s are plenty challenging for this stage of the game, so we don't want to take it. And Orc Warrior, or Orc High Priests and Sorcerers can summon additional demons. Mostly 3s and 4s, I think. Maybe 5s, I don't know. but certainly not 2s. So this guy has a glaive, and I know that I have sacrificed love, and so this is going to make an unfriendly glaive. But, oh yeah, it's fast, great. So I sort of, before when I was casting this spell, I had such low spell power that the glaive, the weapon I animated was slow. I've since been working on my hexes, and it's faster than I am now. So I have to be careful with using that on monsters just to get rid of their weapon. It was fine this time. I got away from it, and then murdered the Orc Warrior, which is what I wanted. And now the glaive is, I don't know, it's on the ground somewhere probably. So there's Orc Knights. They're like, they're stronger than warriors and weaker than warlords. Their big thing, aside from being just fairly tough in general, is they can buff all nearby orcs by shouting a battle cry or something. It makes all the orcs do like substantially more damage in combat, basically. That glaive is still here. I sort of thought it would be gone. I don't appreciate that. Can I be invisible, please? It's looking like no. There we go. No, that didn't work. Rue just made the enemies blind, which is about as good, I suppose. I don't know how you blind a dancing weapon, but apparently Rue is, you know, he can do just about anything he wants. And at least the Orc Knight hasn't seen us. And this can't see invisible, so like if I just become invisible, yeah, he's lost. Doesn't know where to go. He's hitting me a little. But we got him. And my hit points there got quite uncomfortably low. I was a little bit worried, but I had a lot of magic left. So because I'm using Guardian Spirit, I had like 20 more hit points than it looked like. And that was enough to make me feel reasonably comfortable. I kept getting hit, and then like it would take away some of my magic, but then Powered by Pain would go off, and I got more magic back. So I was substantially more durable than it looked like. So there's our first an Ice Devil here, this 3. And like it hits you and does cold damage, basically. Nothing that exciting. I'm actually going to put on a Ring of Ice for this, I guess. But I'm going to have to be fairly flexible with my... Oh, I'm not wearing my cloak. With my use of equipment swapping. Because there's going to be fire demons as well as ice demons, I'm sure. Or probably, anyway. So I want to have that cloak on, and then I can use either a Ring of Fire or a Ring of Ice to give me whatever resistance is appropriate for the moment, for the situation. Oh, and there's a shop here, right? What is it? It's a potion shop. Okay, so we got the priest's attention, and we're backing off now. How drained am I? Oh, not bad at all. So unbadly that I can't even tell? I'm losing 1/10 of a point in evocations. Alright, whatever. I still have cold resistance, right? Good. It can't see invisible, I think. Yeah, so let's try going invisible here. I took off my ring of invisibility, apparently. I guess this is fine. So with Rue's help, he's, you know, attacking himself a lot instead of us, and it's not a big problem. If we run into multiple frightening enemies at once, we're going to be a little more sad. But as it is, we're just sort of going to try to pull these orcs out of here in small numbers. If I had an appropriate wand, I could dig myself a little tunnel to fight in, which is particularly convenient compared to, like, so you can dig something that's shaped exactly right for fighting stuff. Whereas here, I'm just sort of using this hallway, which is close enough. And I had to chase down that orc knight. I don't know if I should have, but he was confused. I didn't want him to wander back in with all the other guys. I wanted to get him while I had him hexed. But the general theme here is, throw some rocks at the guys, and then let them chase you back out. And if they're strong, then hex them with something. And eventually, this monster-filled area is just going to empty out, and there won't be anything left to worry about. That's the plan for Orc 4 here. It's a lot like how I deal with Elf 3, which is... Elf is at the bottom of Orc, and there's, like, elves instead of orcs, and it's much more difficult content. I can take off the Ring of Ice, really, here. You just have to be a higher level to go in there, generally, if you want to be safe. And the end vault is, like, much worse than this. It's awful. You just are in terrible shape in the Elf 3 end vault. So it's a good idea to dig yourself a little, it's called a kill hole, to fight in. And if we get to somewhere appropriate and I have the right tools, I'll show you what that is. But it's basically just a fighting area of a particular shape where it's especially safe to fight enemies because you make sure that only one can ever see you at a time. And so you would need, like, a wand of digging or a wand of disintegration to shape the walls of the dungeon the way you need it shaped for that. And we don't have one yet. And we don't really need one yet for this area. We're doing sort of kill hole light, which is just one at a time, get their attention, draw them back to somewhere where they're going to be isolated. You always just want to fight one guy at a time if you can help it. If it's particularly easy, it's fine to, like, fight multiple people at a time. Like, you saw me holding down tab in big groups earlier, I'm sure, and that's not the tactically perfect way to do a fight, but when you're just fighting a bunch of rats or something that pose no threat to you at all, you don't have to do the perfect thing. Maybe I'm going to try going back. He's going to notice me pretty soon, I imagine. Yeah. And so he's flown over to the other end. That's the blue devil thing, is they swoop around. Does he do cold damage at all? No, he just does normal damage, and he's blue. And he himself is protected against cold damage, but he doesn't do any to you, so I don't really need to deal with my Ring of Ice. There's this Chaos Spawn. Sure. So he does random effects when he hits you, and when he dies, he leaves a cloud that does random stuff when you walk into it. And I just don't want any of that stuff to happen to me. So, okay. So I mean, we can see that there's just this hive of activity in here. This is where all the high-level orcs probably are, and they can hear combat going on, and they're getting all riled up, but they're too dumb to figure out where I am. What store is this? Scrolls. I wondered, can I, like, see what's in them? No, okay. I didn't think so, but I'd never actually tried. You have to walk into a shop to see what's in it, which, makes sense, right? What happened to this guy? Did he get distracted or lost? I don't know. So, I mean, this is, there are a lot of different Orc 4 endings. This is a relatively new one that I'm not as familiar with as most of the rest. It was added in 0.16, which is the most recent stable version. I'm playing on the development version, so there's stuff in here that is not in an official release yet. I do a little bit of development for the game, but not everybody who plays on development is. It's just where you can get the newest, hottest stuff. Sometimes it's broken, but you can get it fixed pretty fast if something goes wrong. The developers are more keen to work on bugs that are known to be in the absolute latest code versus like, I'm playing this version that's 3 months old and something's broken, and then, do you really want to invest the effort to fix it if it might be fixed in the current version? Who knows? So this one was added in 0.16, which was April or something, so that's like half a year ago. It's getting to be about time for 0.17 pretty soon. Carl tries to do a release twice a year. There's an Orc Knight in there, which I don't like very much. I'm going to try to... Oh, I've been paralyzed. Great. That's not great at all. But now the paralysis is over. It didn't last very long. And I just want to carve up this stuff and get out of here. Fire? Ugh. Let's actually put on a Ring of Fire. And I guess I'm not so badly hurt that I need to do anything about it yet. I just want to confuse the Orc Warrior so there's not so many things to deal with. Okay, well this is actually now kind of bad. I'm fighting while I'm corroded, and yeah, I just shouldn't be in here. How am I going to get out? What am I going to do? Apocalypse will work, but I think it's just going to honestly make things worse. It'll kill all these guys, but it'll make a ton of noise. And then I'll have to fight this whole group while also drained badly. I could draw out power and then just try to walk away. Does draw out power fix corrosion? I wouldn't think so. No. I could try to walk around the corner and then like power leap away. What else could I do? Could read a scroll of teleportation and draw out power. That's probably a good compromise. I have plenty of teleportation from those wands. So I'm just going to use this scroll of teleportation to get it to free up an inventory slot. And now in a few turns I'll teleport away. So I'm going to just sort of walk away now. Yeah, okay. So we're out. So that was not really handled super well, that Orc Warrior and Sorcerer combo. But, we got away. And that's sort of what counts. I mean, you don't want to get into engagements like that at all to begin with, but you can be crafty and get out of them, and that's like, it's okay. It's not great. You'd just rather not do that to begin with, like I said. So what do I do about... It looks like basically the same pack is coming back for me here. I don't have any Scroll of Identify, do I? No. I kind of want to use some wands on this. Like, how good am I at paralyzing him? Pretty good, although honestly just confusing him is just as good and more likely to work. So he's summoned a demon that's now summoning some smaller demons, which is kind of a pain. But I just need to focus down this Orc Sorcerer. It's him, right? Yeah. Where is he going? Yeah, so something I'm noticing about the new wall tiles I'm using is that monsters, they're solid, and they look to me a little bit like, the walls are solid tiles, rather, and they look a bit to me like monsters who can't see me sometimes. Like that Orc Sorcerer was kind of grayish background and a grayish O, and it was hard for me to see. I don't know if you guys had that problem or not, but I might try something different for the glyphs, or just put them back to what I'm used to. But we look like we've isolated a knight here, which is good, and got a confuse on him on the first try, so that's good. And that's enough to kill him. So, but the sorcerers and the high priests, yeah, are what I'm mostly worried about here. The priest is a problem, but not a big deal. Yeah, the high priest, he can smite, I think, exactly as well as an ordinary priest, but he can also, like, he can summon demons and do various other things. He can heal better, I guess. But, you know, one-on-one, they're not too bad if you're in melee range already. So we're getting in there. We're working our way in to the final orc demon gate, I guess. So there's actually a demon spawn there. Our buddy demon spawn. He's putrid, apparently. So he got like some sort of poison facet. I think that's like miasma or something. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We are gonna have to kill him eventually. They're enemies that you run into a lot much later in the game. Here, just one of them is a pretty credible threat. So we want to make sure we get him alone if we can. Come on, there we go. Took a lot of tries to confuse that orc knight. And so there should be 2 more shops in that in this hub. You're guaranteed. Oh yeah, these are completely illegible to me. You're guaranteed at least 4 shops in the Orc 4 end vault. That hurt a lot, and he's draining me apparently. I don't appreciate that. That's between me and Rue. Yeah, he had a dagger of draining. He drained me a lot while I was paralyzed. It kind of stinks. Okay, so the demon spawn has seen me, but he's somewhat susceptible to being confused. So I think we should be okay against him. I just want to pull him out to a pretty quiet area first. We got him on the first try. And he's not dead yet. He's tough enough he might actually survive long enough to become unconfused. But if he does, he'll be pretty weakened. And we got him. Boy, there's just stones all over the ground down here, huh? I'm not sure if I was throwing them or if they were, but there's this orc sorcerer. Are you coming? Yeah, okay. And yeah, so the activity in there is dying down. So we're just gonna use this little, gosh, is he draining me again? No, something else happened. What was it? Oh, I went from yellow drain back to red drain, I think. No, that doesn't make sense because he wasn't draining me. Well, apparently he was. I'm even more drained. Does he have Bolt of Draining? Yeah, he does. Okay, so he was using Bolt of Draining. Fine. So I wish I had some resistance to negative energy here, which would make the drain less of a problem. Draining is basically like just, I don't know, negative energy of some kind. Where did he go? Oh, of course, I can see him. He's over here. So there's one more high priest. Let's get him around the corner. He lost track of me. Ugh, what a pain. There's several, like this demon is summoned. I don't need to kill him. I just need to kill the orcs responsible for creating him. And he'll vanish. Yeah, so he just vanished right there, in fact. I wish these guys would come out. All right, the orc priest has found me. The high priest, rather. I see. Is their pathing AI not good enough to find me? Is that what's going on? Where did he go? So he keeps coming back to this area. That's interesting. I didn't know they were set to do that when they lose track of you here. So I'm going to run a little bit less effectively here so that he doesn't lose track of me. Because I really want to kill them one at a time. I don't want them to keep running back to their safe zone. Now there should, I think there's just a couple of these guys left, and apparently like some guys in here who are asleep, maybe demon spawns or something. Yeah, so this is, they each just summoned a bad guy, and I just don't want to be in the middle of all that mess. They each summoned a demon, I mean, more specific than a bad guy. So that's one orc priest down. And what happened to him? Oh, he's blind. He moved away. Okay, fine. Let's go rest. This drain is not very comfortable. It's getting more fixed though. And it's just, what is that? Probably another sorcerer? No, that's a demon spawn. Okay, so he's like covered with spikes. And there is a high priest left, though, just not right here. Okay. So there's at least one high priest and probably another demon spawn. But we're mostly done with this area. Whoever is in here is still asleep. They slept through all this, it seems like. Well, the orc high priest just shouted, so he's probably awake by now. Come on. I'm down here. Let's go. Having all this stealth, but not being able to actually stab guys is a little bit awkward. Oh, I see. Rue distracts him when he hits us. Rue is like blinding him or something, and then he forgets all about us. So there's this orc knight. Maybe I don't like fighting him and the orc priest at the same time, but it seems to be going okay. All right, fine. So we got it. So here's an armor shop and a gadget shop and a gateway to Pandemonium. So Pandemonium is an interesting little, it's an infinitely large dungeon. It just goes on forever and ever and ever. And you can't necessarily come out whenever you want. Every time you enter, instead of stairs, they just have portals to a new Pandemonium realm. And sometimes there's a portal out, but usually there's not. So we're definitely not going in there right now, and we probably won't go all game. Pandemonium is sort of like optional super end game content, which, you know, I've done sometimes. And if I get a particularly strong character, like if things turn out really well for this guy, we might go to Pandemonium for fun. But certainly right now, if we went in, we would be killed. And there's no particular compelling reason to go in at all, unless you want to get a high score. Oh, speak of the devil, I was just recently saying, I wish I could find the Cloak of the Thief. I haven't found it since I became a good enough player to respect the ability to use fog. And it plays great with our sort of, all of our stealth bonuses. So it's a cloak that makes you worse at fighting things. But you can create fog around you like at any time if you're good at evocations, which is great for limiting line of sight. Like we have scrolls of fog, but they're very limited. I only have one, and you can use it to manipulate who can see you and who can't, which is just like super powerful. The ability to do that. So I would really like to buy that. Meanwhile, I'd also like to buy this Wand of Hasting. Would be great. And a rod. I mean, rods are sort of like reusable wands, and inaccuracy is just not one of my favorites. Some people love it. I don't really. So here, like, yeah, heal wounds is good. Resistance is good. Sure, whatever. Here, brand weapon. I'd like to have a branded Lagitang, honestly. And that's something I could get right now. So let's brand. Oh, I have 3 scrolls of brand weapon. Fine. So Lagitang of freezing. That's fine. I'll just take that. So now it does a little bit of extra ice damage. You know, flaming might be better because then we could use it for hydras a little bit more comfortably. Although we still probably shouldn't. So what's on our shopping list? Like 3,200 gold worth of stuff. And we only have 1,100 gold. Why is... Oh, I see. I didn't know what it was when I put it on the shopping list, but now I know it's bad, so I can get rid of it. So the question is, do I want the Wand of Hasting now, or do I save up for the Cloak of the Thief? And... I think I want the Wand of Hasting now. And then I hope to save up... Oh, whoops, I take it off the shopping list. Then I hope to save up... Oops, Hasting. Then I hope to save up for the Cloak of the Thief as well. But having the Wand of Hasting now is much, much better. Haste is just an extremely powerful buff that you can apply to yourself for the tough combat. It makes you like, I don't know, 50% faster or some tremendous amount. And that was Orc 4. I suspect it took us a little while. Yeah, this seems like it's been long enough for a video. I think next I'm probably not going back to Lair. I'm going to just go a little bit deeper in the dungeon, maybe down to the bottom where it runs into depths. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.